Hello, I'm feeling super melancholic today. Mourning, grief, you know the drill. How is it already 2 months? Yeah, that's wild. I have this grief that's weighing me down, but I'm also super busy, so it's this weird, I'm very grateful that I'm busy, because then I would stew in it a lot, and I know it's okay to feel all of that, but it's obviously very overwhelming. But I just finished editing my video for this Sunday. Today's Sunday. I never film on Sundays, but I just really wanted to, even though I feel really sad. But I also really want to film, which usually does not happen. I just finished editing my video and my Wi-Fi is acting up, so I'm gonna go to a coffee shop and upload my video, and then also work on my Patreon book club announcement. And I also need to work on shop things for my shop reopening. If you didn't get the memo, I think that this video is going up before it happens. Yeah, it is. I'm going to be taking part in an art market, Lucky Cat Art Market at Piper Blue Collective in Brooklyn. Details below. But I'm so excited for that. I'm so looking forward to it. I'm also so looking forward to seeing my new products. I need to send them off to be printed, or I need to order the stuff to be printed. Bookmarks, of course, a few prints, some of my drawing I'm printing in print form, which I don't usually sell my drawings because I'm not confident in my drawing, but I really like how these 2 prints that I made turned out, so maybe somebody will like to buy it. I don't know. So going to go work on that stuff. I'm currently reading. I just started trying to be more proactive on my TBR this month because I made a good TBR. I feel like I'm excited to read the books that I have on it, and I'm also still kind of getting out of my reading slump. So where'd my phone go? I'm currently reading Paladin's Grace by T. Kingfisher. The audiobook, I borrowed it from the library. I got my sister's library login, or I signed up for the Chicago library through my sister, so I have it. I'm 34% in. I'm listening at 2 times speed. I used to mostly listen at 1.5 speed, but now my regular standard is 2 times speed. So this book is a fantasy romance. It's not like the usual romantasy though. It still feels a little more, I don't want to say sophisticated because that seems rude to other romances, but it just has this different quality to it. Our male main character is a paladin, and I don't really know what paladin means, but he serves a god, and his god died, and now there are very few paladins of this dead god left because they kind of went into a rage and had to be dealt with because of their lost god. But he is living in this world post his god dying, and the other paladins are such interesting characters, and I like how they are being portrayed, and I love their dynamics. It's really fun. It's kind of giving me Tress of the Emerald Sea vibes. It's not like Tress of the Emerald Sea, but it has the same kind of tones to me. And our female main character is a perfumier. It seems like she's running from some kind of past of hers, and she is such an interesting character as well. I'm just having such a good time already. So they come together, they meet by chance, and then at another meeting they witness an assassination attempt, and kind of get wrapped up in that mystery, and we're just getting into the mystery part. So I feel like it's been going super quickly because I literally just started last night, and then I looked and I was 20%, and I've listened to 10% today alone. So trying to cheer myself up with a nice fun book. It's very humorous and witty kind of. So yeah, let's go and upload my video because it's getting a little bit late. Want a party? Snack party. We're having a snack party. Love you.
Good to see another day. Chapter 35. I don't know that I've done anything. Protested Grace. Stephen thought. There had been money in the sack as well. He recognized someone snatching materials so it would get away. He's back at the temple.
Finished Paladin's Grace. Paladin? I think earlier I said Paladin, but it's a Palladian. No, which one is it? Palladian. Paladin. 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 It's Paladin. I don't know. I don't care. But I finished it and I really, really enjoyed it. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars, and it is definitely one of my favorite reads of the year. It's not the best book I've read, but it is very good. I've really enjoyed my time reading it. I really enjoyed, I wrote in my reading journal the excessive dialogue, or excessive internal dialogue. I don't know if excessive was the word that I was looking for, but it was a lot of it and I really enjoyed it. Excessive, exemplary, entertaining. It really felt like an internal dialogue as well. You really, really get to know the character, obviously, because it's their internal dialogue, but so fun. And it is definitely a series that I will be continuing. The next book follows different characters and so forth and so on, so you kind of come to a conclusion with the characters but not the like wider plot, which I enjoy. I also like when books end with not everything tied up in a nice neat bow, because that's not how the world works. And I also like that it's not gonna focus on one character for too long. Okay, there's a series that I read where it did that. It changed main characters. I cannot remember what book that was or series that was, but then I read another different series and I thought that series, it kept following the same main characters into the following books, but I thought it would have really benefited from changing, because which one was that? Actually, I think I might be thinking of A Touch of Darkness. Is that what it's called? The Scarlet St. Clair book? Yeah, A Touch of Darkness. I was like, that would be fun if that series was, every book was a different main character. But, alas. What was I saying? You know, I wish I knew. Next book has different main characters, and so that is very appealing to me. You get to know a lot of different characters, very colorful cast, and the next one will follow another Paladin. So, Paladin, yes. Can't go through that again. Really enjoyed it. Yay. And I did my reading journaling. The past few books I've been neglecting doing the little thoughts, just jotting down a little bit of thoughts, nothing too big, nothing too crazy, but I was just putting it off last month, and so I'm trying to be like, gotta write it down right when I finish the book, because I clearly just was not getting around to doing the ones from last month. So yay, the first book off my TBR is read. Now, do I move on to a different book, or do I read the second book in this series, which is called Paladin's Strength, I believe? And first I thought Paladin's Grace was on Everand. It was not. And that scared me for a second, and I was like, where did I see it? It was the library. So then I was like, where am I going to read the second book? And Audible has it that is just included in my membership. I don't even have to use my credit to listen to it. So that's what's super appealing about starting the next book. How long was this one? This one was 13 hours at regular one-time speed, and the second book is 15 hours, basically 16. So it's a little bit longer. It follows a different main character. I think this one follows another Paladin and a nun whose like sisterhood was attacked or something, or burned down or something. I don't know, but I think I would like to find out.
A division of Recorded Books presents Paladin Strength by T. Kingfisher.
I didn't get as much work done as I wanted to this evening. I just kind of listened to my book and took it easy, and then made chicken, which I hate cooking chicken, but I did it, and Di would have been really proud of me, and I was very sad that I couldn't text her and be like, look, Di, I did it. I made chicken, I fried it, and the breading didn't all fall off. You guys be proud of me then, okay? Anyways, tomorrow I'm gonna get to all that work. Usually a Monday feels like a good reset day. I'm less focused on trying to get my video uploaded, and Mondays really feel like my proper setup day. So I mostly just have to do shop stuff tomorrow. So I'll be on my computer all day, probably. I really should get back to my puzzle as well. So I think it is a good idea to read Palladian Strength next, because the other books that I want to read are physical books, or that are on my TBR. So good night, sleep tight. I can't wait to take a shower. I feel like I've been in this t-shirt all day because I have.
Well, if I am going to die today, at least the weather is nice. The sky is clear blue, with only a few puppy white out the burning buildings, and once of sickness and unwashed bodies, like the fall tents. And what might those be? Windstorms or stampedes or avalanches? This seemed like a...
This is the second night that I've finished right before midnight. Wow, that's my talent. I finished Paladin's Strength. Woohoo! Wow, I haven't read like the second book in a series in so long, or like just continued a series. I mean, this one was fun. I really enjoyed these characters, kind of in the same way that I enjoyed the first book's main characters, but obviously in a different way. It's not too serious, but it is dealing with like serious fantasy matters, but in a very unserious way, I feel like. There were points in this book that were a little bit more boring than the previous one, even though like there were technically boring parts in the first book, but they were still more interesting than this one's. But I still really enjoyed this one, but I just felt like I couldn't give it the same. It wasn't as good as the first one. I couldn't give it the same rating. And this is the second night in a row that I have finished right before midnight, and I also wasn't expecting it to end so abruptly. I thought we would see more of like how it wraps up, or like what they do after the big event at the end, but whatever, it's fine. I feel like I've finally gotten back into like the swing of things with the audiobooks. The Palladian's Grace and Paladin, oh my god. This series, T. Kingfisher, has really propelled me. I think I will continue this series, but just at another time. I think I should take a break and read something else. I have finished The God and the Guiho by Sophie Kim. Also, her character's last name was Honey Kim, or Kim Honey. I love that she gave her last name. And I know that Korea it's one of those common last names in Korea, but I think it's fun. Also, the audiobook kept saying honey and it sounded like honey. It's just very subtle. For a while I thought her name was Honey. I was like, that's an interesting choice for a character, and then I looked at the description for the name and it is Honey, which I feel like is pretty distinct. Honey and honey. Anyways, I digress. I really enjoyed this book. It really did give Goblin K-drama Grim Reaper vibes. Not the main characters, but the world and obviously the Korean lore, but it kept up that same kind of vibe. I would have eaten this shit up if it had come out when I had first watched the Goblin show. Goblin is one of the only K-dramas I've seen. I've seen a few episodes of the 9 Fox Tale one. Is it called that? With Lee Dun-wook, but I didn't finish out of it, so I don't really know what happened. But Goblin tears me up. It affects me so much. It sends me into a spiral, and I've watched the show 2 or 3 times now, and I don't know why I do that to myself. I don't know why I insist on rewatching it. I guess I just love being mentally ill, but I really enjoyed it, but I gave it a 4 stars because there were just things that I felt like could have just been pushed more, and it would have really rounded it out and, really pushed it to that point. I can't say things without spoiling it, but I wrote a note at some point after halfway about the romance. Yes, this has a very almost equal balance of romance and plot, mystery, magic stuff, mythology, also Korean world, Korean culture, mythology. I love. So good. I love how it was incorporated again with the goblin, because that has to do with the Korean mythology and Grim Reapers and goblins. It has all that. I feel like it's equal in those two things. The build up for the romance was good, but when things finally came out, it dropped off, and I know there were other more important things going on, but it could have helped with keeping the stakes up, keeping the stakes for later in the book, which turned out to be true. I would have been absolutely dying if those stakes had been a little bit more established, had their claws in more, but I can't tell you because I don't want to spoil it, but I would recommend reading it. I really enjoyed this book. I really enjoyed the story, and I enjoyed the characters, and I love when a main character is thousands of years old or hundreds of years old already and has an established sense of self, and then we get to go through and they get to have a change, which is always fun to see how authors portray change in an immortal being or a being that has lived through so many years, what gets them to change at that point, because not much can at that point because they're old and they've been around for a while. This is the 3rd day and the 3rd book that I finished right before midnight. It's almost midnight now. I've basically been working all day on my iPad, and my iPad is giving me problems, and I don't have money to buy a new iPad, and iPads are so expensive. I also did today, most of the day I feel like I was working on these little stickers. I found from when I first did these, I gave them, I think, as freebies or something in orders, and I had found a random one when I was cleaning the other day, and I was like, I should redo this because I really like it. It's so cute. So I basically redid it, and then I also added Rocky's blind eye, and this picture is from before his eye started going blind, but I felt like I should keep it true to his current self, so I added a little bit of fogginess. Poor thing. It's not going to be this big, I don't think. I think this is too big, right? Is this a good size? Maybe the text needs to be bigger and he needs to be smaller. I don't know, but I have to order it soon, so I can't wait for your guys' opinion. I don't know. Well, not always, but I like to print stickers out to the size of how they're going to print out just to get the vibe, because, you have to order in a large amount, so... So, the next read that I have started is The Wren in the Holly Library. I'm on a roll. I'm out of my reading slump, thank God. Last night I actually did restart A Tempest of Tea, but I just don't like heist books. There's this level of constant anxiety that I have while reading heist books because you know the heist is gonna go wrong, and you know that things are gonna... It really stresses me out. Like, I like Six of Crows, but I cannot reread that series because of the heist aspect. Even though I do know what's gonna happen. But still, I'm reading The Wren in the Holly Library. I don't know why I thought this was on Kindle Unlimited. I thought that's how I was gonna read it on my Kindle, but it's not on there. So I checked the library and thank goodness it was available from Chicago Library. So I started listening to it. And I really like the setting, the urban fantasy, monsters come into this world, it like revealed themselves. And there was like a monsters versus human war. I really like the urban fantasy setting, and it being in New York City. And I started listening to this while I was in like East Midtown area, which was like financial district, fancy, rich people, business people. And it just gave like such a vibe. I feel like I just constantly talk about vibes in books, but you know what? That's what books are. They're full of vibes. I stopped by Target to pick up some things for dinner, and they had a copy of it, and it was 30% off. I couldn't say no, so I got it. I just could not resist, even though I wasn't really planning on buying this physical book. Why do I keep buying books? I can't help it. But look at it. Okay, the cover's not as gorgeous as the other alternative cover. Maybe that's the UK cover, but you know, sprayed edges, love that. But the selling point here, these end pages, oh my gosh, the way that like New York City and normally I don't like things that take place in New York City because I think it's just so, you can tell that it's written by somebody that doesn't live in the city, or that they're trying to make it seem like they know New York City, but it just sounds really odd and like convoluted. But I think the setup for this like monster world fits so well for New York City. So I don't know, it's being written well so far. And look at this, under the dust jacket. So you know what, I bought it. I put this on my TBR for the month, and I didn't expect to be blowing through my TBR so quickly. But that's good. I love reading. I just feel like this week so far, it's literally only Wednesday, but I feel like, yeah, reading, woohoo. So I'm gonna continue listening to this. I'm 30% in. The past few books, I start it, and then at some point I look and see how far I've gotten, and I'm way further in than I expect to be. So I have 5 hours left-ish of the audiobook. So if I continue listening to this, probably with a few breaks here and there, I'll probably finish this again right before midnight. What day is this? Like the 4th day? But you know what? I love books, and this is very fun. So, The Wren in the Holly Library by K.A. Lind. I hope that I really like it because now I own the physical book of it. But it's pretty, okay? Like the cover as well is fine, but it's giving like 2010s cover. You know what I mean? Other updates? I don't know. I've just been working. I went out to work at a coffee shop today because I felt like I was just sitting in this chair forever yesterday, which I was sitting in this chair all day yesterday. So anyways, back to sitting in this chair and working. It's just like really random like admin stuff. It's like little things here and there that it's just, you can't really put it on the to-do list because then it's so like small and inconsequential, but then it feels like you're not really doing anything when you look at your to-do list and you're like, can I check anything off? You're like, no, not really. But then what have I been doing for the past like 3 hours?